Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. How is everybody doing tonight? Boy, what a big rally. What a fun rally. I tell you, I thought Mr. T looked really relaxed and took the pulse of the crowd. And then I don't know if you all noticed it, about 10, 15 minutes in, he told one of his aides, he said, "Give me the snake. Give me the snake." He decided he was going to tell the snake story. So, uh, I'm waiting so we get some people in the uh, in the chats. Unless there's something big happening, I don't know about. If there's something big happening, I'm sure everybody will let me know. But anyway, on my title, I got "No Blue Meanies." Trump said, "What's going on here? What was he talking about?" When he said, "What's going on here?" Sherry, how you doing? Him, Bubba, Diane, Melinda. Well, what he's talking about is he said all the networks are covering his rally. All the networks. Truth and Reconciliation Act? I believe so. Or were they, well, maybe a combination. They were hoping there would be some blue meanies show up. You know, they get paid with their gift cards and put on their goofy outfits and run around screaming and yelling. I came up with that. Remember the blue meanies? The blue meanies were, what was it, Yellow Submarine, wasn't it? With the Beatles, the cartoon. Ha ha ha. Am I right or wrong about that? Let me see. Linda's here. And let's see, how many Diane? We got Diane. Sometimes we get people with the same last names. So I'm just checking. Yeah. Remember the blue meanies? Well, I was watching this short video clip where people were setting up a table. I think it was in might have been Pittsburgh, and you know, they had Trump signs and they were wearing their hats, and you know, nice young ladies and young men, and they were not being nasty or anything. They're just enjoying their day, you know, had their little tables and posters set up, and here comes a blue meanie. He was wearing a blue shirt. That's what made me think of it. And he said, "Trump's going to be in jail before he gets run for president. You all are wasting everybody's time." Blah, blah, blah. And they say he tipped over a table or somebody joined him, a blue meanie joined him. They get brave then. And they tipped over the table of the people. And I forwarded that video on Truth and Any Other Word is Social. And I called them blue meanies. So that's what I'm going to call them now. You know, they're just miserable. They're not happy with their lives. They feel anybody that doesn't get along with the government or do what the government says is the cause of their problems. Not that the government is really the cause of their problems. Boy, didn't Trump point out some good stuff today about how people in America are just getting the business, you know, getting the business, getting screwed over with these contracts and government programs. And I don't think people realize the amount of the grift. He was just talking about a couple of things that he was involved in, and saved hundreds of millions of dollars. One of them was an ice skating rink. Yeah, it was an awesome rally. Diane, wasn't it? AOC. Well, that old fella got up there. I didn't think he was too old, but you know, he. Am I right about this? He said he served 50 years as a state senator, representing the Bronx, the New York, I guess the Bronx area. I thought, well, he doesn't look that old. But boy, he did give a good aside to the speech. He really did. Hi, Araceli. Oh, yes, you got to spend time with your family. Love them while you got them. Because that's what this is all about. In the end, is for your family, your progeny, all to have a better life. That's why we're walking through the darkness to get to the light. And like I said, we don't know how many of us are going to make it to see the end game, but we're getting closer. We're getting closer. As I said, Trump lost his sister. He lost a brother during this operation. Ivana, who they said, who was it? Was Dana White. Dana White said the only time he ever heard Trump ever cracking, I guess you could say, was after the shock of Ivana dying, when she, air quotes, fell down the steps. He was very broken up over that. It was the mother of his children. And they did maintain a amicable relationship. So, I'm sure that if it was within his power, if it made the best sense in the world to do what a lot of us want to do, is just go ahead and start rounding people up and cracking backsides and, throwing the evidence out there, he would do it. But the brutalization of that of society, the rocking the boat, and the resultant suffering would be maybe not so much now, but a year ago definitely would have been too much. But people are waking up. And hi Ronald, how you doing? Gloria, how you doing? Stephanie. But I don't think they expected the crowd. The mainstream media, I think they were there partially because they are being instructed to be more straightforward and to include the truth. And also they were hoping for some embarrassment or some upheaval, some mostly peaceful protests. Now, I tell you what, remember when I talked about Jerk Smith, Jack the Jerk, and I put up this is when I was doing a picture show. I put up a post somebody putting what is they say was his real name. I was saying, can this be real? I mean, what is it? I've got it. And I posted it to social. And yeah, it'd be nice to go to a rally. They're historical, Stephanie. It'd be kind of like going to the Lincoln Douglas debates. Probably they have more import than that, which the Lincoln Douglas debates were a big deal. Yeah, we're just getting started, Sherry. I put in my title, Trump saying, what's going on? When he said, all the news media is here, what's going on? He knows what's going on. Somebody tell him, look, you get your rear ends down there and you cover the rally. And don't be telling people that there were 3 people in the crowd either. Somebody did get sick and they had to call for a doctor. But it's like Trump said, people have been there for 2 days, some of them, waiting. Lone Wolf, how you doing? Doc Honeycutt, how you doing? So I put this truth up. This is an example, and don't pester the person. You might want to check them out, but I put up there, who are these people, in quote marks, and then Donald Trump's initials, DJT, as a quote from Donald Trump. Who are these people? And that's when I put a picture of Jack Smith and a post by Brooklyn Patriot. And you could see this on my page, okay, if you go there. And, I don't know why I had 20 or 30 people quit following me. Little what do you call it? YouTube games. I don't play games. I want to have good discussions, and but anyway, people have tissy fits. But anyway, Brooklyn Patriot Pete, and yeah, I don't mean anybody in particular, but I tell you, I had somebody come in from a while back. I hadn't heard from in a year, and they put something in the comment section. But I'm sticking by what I said. If you're told to stay inside by a lawful authority, by a young person from the National Guard or whoever it is, don't get your ass up on your shoulders and say, I'll do what I want on my property. Do not, on the one hand, demand that the military do something, but on the other hand, say that you're going to defy them when they come around. And I'm sticking with that, and that's it. So people who can't see what I'm saying, they're best to stay away anyway. Okay. Brooklyn Patriot, P8, Triot. What we know about prosecutor, quote, Jack Smith. Real name, Avi Hauerman, Mann. Not a U.S. citizen. United Nations officer working in The Hague, Netherlands, until brought to the USA for Trump prosecution. And I did. I did say several times, is this real? Can y'all hear me? My chat's disappeared and I coughed and everything else. Mr. T didn't, Diane. Mr. T didn't call AOC one. That speaker did. I didn't catch his name. Yeah, that rally was great today. It had a lot of energy. I'm sure everybody was just tickled to death. I was talking to a friend of mine, and I said, those rallies, they're kind of like a state fair. You have that many people there. I mean, I don't know how many it was, but 10,000, at least, I'm sure. And you get that kind of people. You got to have food. You get vendors. People have hats and shirts and, all kinds of fun stuff to buy. And, it ain't like going to an Antifa rally. I can tell you that. It's a lot more fun and people are a lot more positive. And where you can get some good food to eat and meet new people and hear a uplifting message. What else is better? What's better on a Saturday when you're in a city that's been turned into an S-hole, But it wasn't Mr. T, Diane. It was a speaker. The guy who got there with the white cowboy hat on, and he said he was a state senator for 50 years. He looked young to me, but I was just watching on a little screen. But he said he was a Puerto Rican, served as state senator. He was, I guess, past chairman of the local Democratic Party. I'm sure, somebody to be that involved, heavily involved. And he's, he said at the end, I was speaking in broken English, but I'm an American and I'm voting for Donald Trump. And he said about AOC, he said, AOC said God did not want Trump to come to the rally because we're going to get rained out. And he said, look at what a beautiful day we've got. What a beautiful day. That means, AOC, you are a false prophet. And Trump was just standing there listening to it with a smile on his face. And the other thing I was thinking that Trump might take this time to wade into the water as far as his gag order. do a little provocation. That may yet come, but turns out he didn't have to. That same speaker, I wish I wrote down at least his last name, but you can go look it up. If he's been in politics for 50 years, everybody knows who he is. So he said, I have to apologize. I'm a Puerto Rican, and I apologize for Judge Marcon. And I guess Marcon has a similar, heritage. And the way he's treating you is terrible, awful. It's embarrassment, an embarrassment. And Trump was standing there. Thank you. That's so nice. Thank you. It's okay for him to say thank you, isn't it, Judge Marcon? You going to put that guy in jail? Make him take his big, beautiful white cowboy hat off? Oh, I mean, the Bronx would blow its bowels if they did anything to mess up that rally or disturb Trump. He would have been a mess. Mostly peaceful mess. Hi, Bill. How you doing? Sissy, how you doing? Yeah, he was talking to folks in the neighborhood. That's where he's from. And I will tell you something, folks. Since we've got some people from way back in chats, one of the founders, I want to see if they remember the story I told when I was a young and up and coming businessman in my salad days. And what my father used to tell me. And also a broker now, he's passed away, but real estate broker back in the 80s, early 90s. If he was still living, he'd be over 100 by now. That's not the same as my other friend who would be over 100 by now. But I said I always hung out with older and wiser people, especially in business. So anyway, I heard many times 40 years ago, even before the broker in the 80s, the harder I work, the luckier I get. And I almost said that to a young man today, but I said something else. But I wonder if Bubba remembers me telling that story. The harder I work, the luckier I get. Because somebody told me, man, you're lucky. I said, luck, S-H, you know what? Luck, nothing. The harder I work, the luckier I get. So it's all generational knowledge and old sayings that people pass around. Trump's father, I'm sure, told him that. And Trump's father would have been, well over 100 by now. But anyway, so I was dealing with a young man in a retail store. And I said, well, how you doing there, bud? Oh, I'm doing okay. Young guy. Okay. Place was almost empty. Just me and one other customer came in when I was leaving. Slow. He said, I'll be happy in 3 hours when we get to close. I noticed the lint on the floor when you walk in. Okay, the counter, a little bit of crud on it, Didn't say nothing about that. But I told him, don't wish your life away. Not 1 minute. I said, you can't know the difference between work and play. You got to be grateful for everything you're able to do. And I don't know about that. Well, maybe you get a little older, you will know something about that. But Trump said, I want to talk to the young people. I'm sick of politics. Can I take 6 minutes to talk about something else? And he talked about these life lessons that many of us have discussed in past broadcasts. Every moment's precious, whether you're working or at play. And I've joked around before. I said, I'm kicking, but not too high, but at least I'm kicking, right? So hopefully we'll be hearing some more of those communications and life lessons. I'm waiting for his big speech in D.C. Wouldn't that be something? Because he rubbed it in their face today. He rubbed it in all their faces. And I do believe his use of the term pause was for a reason. Merchan dismissed the jury for an entire week, ostensibly so he could work on his jury instructions. And as some pundits have said, yeah, he's got to dream up some legalese to instruct the jury as to a crime that doesn't exist. But he's going to have to come up with some kind of jargon that he forestalled his vaporism of the mopery beyond the statutory limit and his entries in the journal. That's what Cohen pled guilty to, right? Didn't you, Cohen? Yeah, I did. Yeah. He's got to come up with some kind of garbage. And but I don't know. This pause Trump is using very well. He's got the whole weekend. He's got the whole rest of the week and the whole weekend. And then rolling up to closing arguments on Tuesday. Closing arguments. You know, even though they threw everybody out of the courtroom when Judge Merchan had his hissy fit, Alan Dershowitz stayed in there and listened to it. Excuse me, I'll have something about coffee. Now, I was of the notion that the transcript, whenever I got thrown out, may have not been complete. You know, could the judge instruct the clerk not, you know, to seal part of his warnings or dressing down of Costello? And I thought, yeah, he probably can seal that stuff. He can gag Trump. So, but it turns out what we've heard and saw in released transcripts was pretty much complete, confirmed by Alan Dershowitz, who said, you know, it was just awful. It was the worst thing he's seen in 60 years of practice. You know, so anyway, so he's irritable. I might do a video about YouTube lawyers. I don't know. It's something I got stewing in my mind. And it was fun. And there are fun people who put up videos that are good attorneys. I've mentioned Steve Leto, Letho. He put out a good one. I'll let you guys look it up. But you know, there's no nasty language. There's no. But boy, I tell you what, I've been watching some of these attorneys, and you just have an eye roll. I talked about how in my day, attorneys weren't even allowed to advertise. It was considered beneath the profession, and we've leapt from that to some of what we're seeing on YouTube. So I might do a little story about it. There needs to be a raising of the standards. But what brought me to that point was there was one attorney I've talked about briefly in the past who part of his opening to his YouTube videos are him in a suit and white shirt getting off a private plane and music going, and then he puts his 2 cents in. And I would listen to him sometimes. And I thought, you know, yeah, he's pretty arrogant, but you know, I listen to him. And you know, you never flaunt your wealth. I had a friend of mine that went and bought an Excalibur car. have you all ever heard of an Excalibur car? And another business friend told me, you need to sell that. People are going to be throwing rocks at you in this small town. I mean, an Excalibur is the most gaudy, maybe during Great Gatsby days or something like that. But anyway, so this guy's flaunting it. And I watch a couple of his videos, and some of the things I think he's, okay, this, okay, that. But out of the blue during one video, he said something about arrogance and stupidity. And he said, kind of like somebody we all know who's trying to get back in the White House, or something similar to that. Some unprovoked smear on Trump. This was last year. I said, well, that does it for me. And I just put in the comments, you got a big mouth. I left it at that. And I shouldn't even have taken the time of my day for that comment. But I saw a thumbnail of his that called Costello the person that Mercan dressed down for moving his eyes in his head or blinking or whatever. He called him a liar. I'm going to keep an eye on a lot of this stuff, and I've got some stuff written down where people are getting themselves in trouble with just what I said in those comments last year. Big mouth. You got a big mouth. And there's an old saying, you never miss an opportunity to keep your mouth shut. I know that's an odd thing coming from me because I do my broadcasts. But hey, I put out my opinion. I don't knowingly try to hurt somebody. I will, call somebody fatty 2x4, can't get through the bathroom door, something like that. Whatever, comedy, satire. All right, they can't take the heat to go somewhere else, but I'm not going to impugn somebody's reputation for honesty and veracity unless I have seen with my eyes and know for a fact that the person is either ignorant of the facts or knowingly telling a lie. If that's the case, it's exactly the way I put it out. But so let's see how the ball bounces with some of these YouTube attorneys that are doing their, I've talked about them in the past as far as doing the profession a disservice, mostly from the point of doing our nation a disservice by participating in illegal psychological warfare campaigns. But now, hey, I'm talking about everyday practice. The reputation for lawyers doesn't need to be as guttural as what I've been seeing. And I'll talk about that some more. Ruben Diaz, Stephanie said at the rally, money can't buy taste. That's right, Kim. I had my cars I liked, but I didn't, it's like when I sold some of my cars. I was like, I haven't driven this thing in 6 months. And then there was one time, and a cop pulled me over for no reason because he'd never seen one like it, with customized tags from 1975 Mercedes. He thought it was somebody using somebody else's tags, and same with a boat. You go out on a boat, and there's more game and the fisheries, Marine Police, Coast Guard, all dotting all over the place, staring at each other. And you go out there, and you got I've had different boats. I've had first one I had you call a cabin cruiser was 25 foot, and then I got to 30-something foot with a fly bridge and all that. But every time you go out, You mind if we come aboard and have a look around? And you can't tell them no. And the last time I was on my personal vessel, I told him, every time I go out, I get boarded. Every time. And every time I go out, I see at least in my I might go 20 miles somewhere and 20 miles back. I'll see over a dozen law enforcement and hardly any recreational boaters. Because they're all, who wants to get boarded? Who wants somebody to, what's that, a beer can? Yeah, it's from last week. Well, we're still going to take you in. Anyway. Attorneys should be taking a look at this kind of stuff. This kind of stuff in a respectful manner, in a mature and professional manner. But you have a problem like that, and you want to do something about it with an attorney? You better bring a sack of money. I had a friend of mine who was an attorney. When he was struggling, he did some work for me and did real estate closings, stuff like that. I'd send him somebody that might have gotten a little pickle, over a traffic ticket or something like that. And he was very reasonable. Then one day he started, I guess, expanding his practice. And I went in there and talked to him about something. And on the way out, the receptionist got a bill for me. And I thought, oh, okay, let me see. How much is it? Oh, 200, what? $200? I said, what, did I forget to pay a bill? No, it's just for today. Okay, I pay it. No. And the joke was then, it's, $100 to say hello and $500 to say goodbye for the silliest things. Imagine if you had some kind of issue concerning your freedom, your rights, your property rights, or going against some little pimple-faced code enforcement person. Forget it. The courts are not available to you unless you've got a lot of money. So what do people do? They let them get away with it. They get shoved around. They take it. They put up with it. And there's no advocates anymore. And if you have the nerve to go defend yourself, you may be very smart. But the reason they say someone who defends himself has a fool for an attorney, because you're a fool if you think you're going to get past a system, a money-making system. You're going to get there and get it done on your own. You may win here and there, but chances are they're going to stay necessary. So, hi, Wayne. How you doing? Kim, let's see. For Freedom, how you doing? Yeah, the meme police. I put up a couple of memes. Who was it? Dan Scavino put up meme police. Put up your memes. I put the one up somebody made of Barack Obama with a real sad face on and said, here's what you look like when you get deported to Kenya. But anyway, back to the rally. He's pointing out, and the people know, that it's us against them. And they have thrown so much money at this, time and money. Paraded in 17 prosecutors last week for Trump. They're all getting big money. They're all getting vacation days. They're all getting retirement. And what are they doing? What's going on here? They're making a career out of trying to deprive us of our vote, deprive us of the candidate that we want. And they're using our money to do it. That's why I thought it was such a great thing that Trump brought up. The ice rink, okay? How many years they spent on it? What was the ice rink? 30 years? 29 years? Yeah, I think it was 29 years. And he described it. They would take a dump truck of dirt, take it over there, dump it, and then a week or two later get the same dirt and bring it over back to the same place and dump it again. Hey, that's hard. Well, you would think it would be hard to do for 29 years, but they're all getting grift. What did the term he used? Feathering. Feathering is what he said. If you go back and listen to it, they were feathering. Let's say, and he said, some of the contractors there are here now. Can't be too many of them. I'm sure there are some. But, if somebody started on the 30 years, if they're in their 50s or, up in their age now. But anyway, there were two projects he talked about that were tie into something I discussed years ago. Last year. That happened years ago. Trump was talking about the golf course there in the Bronx, Ferry Point. And he talked about the skating rink. All of them were government boondoggles that never got done. Nobody even knew how much they'd spent on it. We're talking hundreds of millions of dollars. And Trump steps in. He gets a golf course done in what did he say, 2 or 3 years? And the skating rink in a year. And the skating rink, he said, I use my own money. And he said the biggest expense was cutting up all the garbage, all the concrete, hauling it away, demoing all the years of crap they were putting together. And like Jason said, feather bedding. Oh, sissy, you got to go back and watch it. Ha ha, another day in paradise. That's right, Freedom. Hi, Ravens. So the biggest expense was getting rid of this. There's nothing worse than a bureaucrat who's never done anything, never built anything, heading up a job. An idiot, And 9 times out of 10, you put on top of that, they're corrupt. Corrupt morons. That they're immune if they work for the government. State, federal, local, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Just like if you're out there in a boat and you see land's a little speck and you mind your own business and somebody decides to give you a hard way to go, write you tickets, push you around, go digging around through your stuff. Good luck fighting that. What happens to the boating industry? What happens to children's memories? Their parents just say, we're not going to do that. We're not going out there. We ain't going through it. Then the unions that build boats say, gee, business is slowing down. We need to get paid more an hour. Or we need to have our hours cut back, but we need to make the same amount of money. Businesses die. But then you've got the same dozen or 2 dozen boats from the government floating around on the water. And the people suffer. Same thing. What was funny was, earlier today, I watched somebody do a review. Hi, Island Girl. They did a review of the movie, if you all remember it, called Falling Down. Falling Down. Michael Douglas. Remember that movie, folks? I think it was 1993. And he does an analysis of it, a societal analysis of the movie. And I encourage you all to watch it. And the guy's channel is called The Critical Drinker. Critical Drinker. Now, I've recommended shows before, and a lot of people enjoy them, but I recommended one that I wish I hadn't. I'll get into that later. But I don't believe I'll regret recommending this. Falling Down. And without going through all the precepts that he went through, which were very insightful, what he was basically saying the movie was about, just the average guy trying to make it, doing what he's been told will bring him happiness and prosperity, trying to be a good American, and all the things that get thrown up in the way, and he just cracks. The crime, the grift, the injustice, dishonesty, all of it, and his wanting to hang on to the myth that he is, can be, will be a viable, happy member of society. Just disintegrates. So if you get a chance, I thought it was so odd that I haven't thought about that movie Falling Down in years. I watch it. I hear what the man's saying. I'm not saying I agree with everything he said, but damn near. Then you have this rally tonight with Mr. T talking about many of the same things in a different way. In a different way. How this system, okay, some people call it the Leviathan, some people, call it the deep state, whatever, doesn't give a damn and take advantage of you every way they can. And people are treading water, honest people, and never giving up hope. And his stories about telling young people to work hard, telling people about landmark properties in their own city that he turned around, had a direct impact on, that are places they can go to this day. And they know now, not just tens of thousands of people at that rally, but millions of people in the city of New York got to hear the story. How politicians, bureaucrats, contractors, union bosses, crooked people have been taking advantage of the people, fleecing the people, delaying. Like he said, I wanted to get the skating rink done in time when the children who are children right now will still be interested in ice skating. And how he used common sense approach. He didn't get a contractor out of warm, sunny Florida. He went and spoke with the hockey team up the Calgary. What contract do you use? What's the best type materials? What? He was able to put that situation together with one hand tied behind his back, probably two hands tied behind his back, better than any of them would have been able to do. But I want to point out, like the golf course, another boondoggle. Who came to him over that? Bloomberg, who was his opponent. Oh, my screen froze again. Wait a second. Anyway, What was he talking about with the skating rink and with the golf course? He talked about the union, Teamsters, concrete, and he talked about how there were concrete trucks lined up as far as the eye could see, and they got off their duffs. He didn't say it in a desultory way. He was like, it was a beautiful thing to see, but he did mention, I told them, you all have made enough money off of this thing in the last 29 years. Don't you think it's time to get moving? Remember what I was talking about when the mafia tried to take over all the concrete contracts in New York City? Rudy Giuliani was in on busting the mob for it. Sammy the Bull talked about how they tried to pierce Trump's security to put the stiff arm on him about another matter, but how Michael Francis had discussed, that's with the Colombo crime family, how the commission wanted to put 2% on all the concrete. And that was the deal that led up to one of the biggest busts of the top guys in the mob. Should have led to the biggest bust of the top people in the government that were ripping us off too. So anyway, I thought that was a very interesting little aside. You know, and he brought up how they wanted to take the skating rink away from him because of the J and then the other, the number is 6, right? Because I'll get some kind of notice on my video if I say it flat out. They tried to use that for justification to get out of their contract with him. He used his own money to build the damn thing. He used his own money to tear up and throw away all the crap that they put in that was worthless. And then they tried to justify it by calling him insurrectionist, right? Yeah. And he talked about that Supreme Court justice. If anybody caught her name, he talked about it. He praised her. And that's very important because he was talking about unity, especially when he said, we're going to take 6 minutes to talk about something else besides politics. He mentioned unity. He's reaching out to the judicial branch. Don't forget his sister who recently passed away, was a very big name judge. Very well respected. But he mentioned her name 4, 5, 6 times tonight. How she just looked at them and said, how unfair is this? What are you thinking? That didn't get much press, did it? I don't remember hearing about it. I might have read a little story about it. Hi, Sandy. Greg, how you doing? Andrew. Yeah, it was Sean Penn and Sean, but in the movie Falling Down, it was Robert Duvall. I won't spoil it for you all. Y'all take a look at Critical Drinker, his review of Falling Down. And it really addresses, in my mind, how long ago was that? 32 years ago or more? Government abuse, okay? The abuse of the system, the lack of concern for the citizen, the people who feel like they're part of the big club. So they don't got to worry about it. We're not part of the big club. They don't give a damn about us. That's what Trump was saying. And when he goes, when he has a rally in D.C., oh, I'll tell you something else. Did you notice how he said about 10 minutes before he showed up, I guess, they sent an extra couple of thousand police officers to handle and help out with the overflow crowd. And it reminds me of what I was listening to on some of the news, so-called news shows. Somebody said, well, if there's more supporters there for Trump than there are people against Trump, they're really going to look bad. The Democrats are going to look bad. I didn't hear one report of any protests or any. I mean, what idiot would show up in the South Bronx with all those people having an experience, a historical experience of a lifetime, seeing the most famous man in the world, and somebody come up, orange man, bad, or whatever they come up with, crap they want to come up with. I've said before, you couldn't embarrass liberals. No way to embarrass them. But I think it would have been too embarrassed to do it this time around. Nice to see you, David. Did anybody hear anything getting any trouble happening there? I know somebody fell ill. If you haven't seen the movie Falling Down, you might want to watch it before you watch the review. Because it'll spoil it. It'll spoil the ending. You might want to watch it and cogitate it on your own, and then listen to his review. That'd be a fun little write down what you think it's about, and the course of events that led to this. His being where he was and doing what he did. So, yeah, just a little fun thing to do. But anyway, I would like to see a rally in D.C. and him talk about that post office. It was a derelict building for decades, a disgrace, right on Pennsylvania Avenue. A boarded up hulk. And then Trump came in, took it over. Now it's a premier property. Even then, they didn't want any rooms being rented out, emoluments clause. That's where you get into all these SHYS. TER. We used to drive forklifts called heisters. Put S in front of it. Dreaming up their lawfare. Taking pettifogging to the nth degree and beyond, to downright, in my opinion, fraud on the court. And when you got judges like Merchan that are playing along with it, defrauding the American people, the American government. So we'll see how that turns out. But I think Merchan has, I don't know, I think he had heard the, hi, Robin, how you doing? Robin, do you remember hearing me say last year, or might have been 2 years ago, my dad saying the harder you work, the luckier you get? Right? So my dad was from New York. I'll say, I can go say where we all ended up. But he speaks the same language as GJT. So many of the sayings. And it's something because people are, during this rally, what are they thinking about? A lot of them. And if they weren't thinking about it, they're going to check it out. This lethal force business with the raid. an FBI spokesman, no real name attached to it, saying, "Oh, that's we do that for everybody, and that's just standard protocol. We don't, it's just cut and paste into the warrant." BS. And I'll tell you, I know from experience that there are different levels of treatment for different situations and different people and different groups of people. Diplomats, heads of state. I mean, that's when you're way up there. But if you have a local personality that's well known, things are handled differently. If you have somebody that's an attorney, they're definitely handled differently than you or I would be, because they're considered officers of the court, right? Not just for search warrants, traffic stops. There are different protocols depending on the person. Some areas, they have a list of names that are handed out to local law enforcement. If this person gets pulled over, this is what you do. You refer it to me, okay? Whatever the problem is. And if it's safe to do so, you let the person go home. I know for a fact that stuff happens. So they're lying about that. So I'm not just wondering if there's a orchestration method to the madness, where you have Comey coming out of the woodwork just before this business of disclosing the lethal force. Just before he comes out saying Trump is a danger to democracy, a danger to the American way. We can't have this. In other words, saying he must be stopped. Is he being boogeyman on purpose to wake people up? And had he better play boogeyman because he really was the boogeyman? We're going to find out what those texts were between Strzok, Page, Comey, McCabe, all of them. And if it included harming Mr. T or his family, or worse. That's right, Angela. Yeah, local police know a clerk or somebody who works in the clerk's office. They're going to treat them a little differently. If you got some unknown roustabout, out there with a wife beater shirt on and a cigarette behind his ears, screaming, yelling, so you handle them another way. But anyway, I think it's interesting, and we're going to start seeing a story being told. People are being reminded about Comey. People are being reminded that he is viscerally against Donald Trump, or he was, and he is being made to repeat, or he may very well believe and be saying it of his own accord, that Trump needs to be stopped. I think it's the former. Because he was doing that and got caught. And it's all being laid out there for the American people to see. But some people aren't seeing it. Now, let me ask you this. Does this sound like a bot to you guys? I was talking about the post I put up about Jack Smith. And I put it on True Social. The one that said his real name was Avi Howerman, not a U.S. citizen, et cetera, et cetera. Well, somebody puts in my True Social, where did it go? Here we go. I won't say he is who he is. I don't gaslight people or put him out. If you want to see who it is, you can go look on my True Social page. But anyway, he responds to that post I put about Jack. He said, "Wow, can't get much farther from the truth than that. Smith is identified in his high school yearbook as Jack Smith, playing for Liverpool's varsity football and baseball teams. He grew up in Clay before going to SUNY Oneida and eventually getting his law degree from Harvard Law School." Now, those Clay, SUNY Oneida, I don't know what those places are. Then he goes on to say, Smith is married to Katie Shevigny. Boy, if that ain't a Russian sounding name or Prussian sounding, a documentary filmmaker whose credits include 2007's Election Day, about voters in the 2004 election, and 2004 Deadline, about Illinois Governor George Ryan's decision about the fate of death row prisoners. So he mentions those two 2004 movies. The couple has a daughter. Okay, he stops there. He doesn't bring up the fact that she was working on with Michelle Obama, right? Anyway, I won't get into that. But the couple has a daughter and has been living in the Netherlands since 2018, when Smith was appointed to The Hague as chief prosecutor for the special court tasked with investigating international war crimes. Smith has 3 decades of experience as a prosecutor, starting as an assistant attorney in New York City, working in the S3X Crimes Division and Violent Crime Offices. His career also included a variety of roles at the U.S. Attorney's Office. Okay. I responded to him. Could have threw a lot more dirt in than I threw. But I took it easy on him. I guess you could say. I said, "Who is Barry Soweto? Who used multiple Social Security numbers? What happened to the lady that, quote, verified someone's birth certificate? Whose grandfather was a card-carrying communist? Who is Bill Ayers? Who wears a ring to this day praising Allah? Who built ISIS? What happened to SEAL, and in the other words, is Team 6? What happened to Ambassador Stevens?" On and on. Not to mention a high school yearbook with a football player named, quote, Michael. Don't know the whole name? U.S. Secret Service does, and then a laughy face. Now, I could have kept typing and typing, but I closed out with this. Jack is not his given name, just like Newsom and de Blasio. Watch. Gavin Newsom's name in Gavin Newsom, Bill de Blasio's original name in Bill de Blasio, and Jack Smith's name in Jack Smith. Who are these people? And who's that? Can you all remember Michael's name in Mike Shell's name in high school as a football player? The last name. I know it somewhere in my brain. I just can't pull it out. Michael, oh, shoot. Well, it doesn't matter. Should be able to find it. And so I checked the guy out. And his last post was Trump job creation at work. His economy increased our debt more than any other president. Mar-a-Lago hires 136 new foreign workers as Trump seeks an immigration crackdown. You know, so I don't know if he's a troll that's been put on there, but really being able to recall in a non-offending way facts that if he's not a troll, he's going to have to think about. That's why I go Michael L. Robinson. Thank you, Sherry. Speaking of yearbooks, Big Mike Robinson. So, did you all see the video of Malay doing a rock, singing a rock song like a I don't know, a rock star? Really? It's funny. He was singing this song and he's got his hair flying, his arms flying. He's singing the song. And the caption says the song was one that the band didn't want him to play at his rallies. They were mad because he was playing their song at his rallies. He said, well, I'll show you. And he got up there and started doing their song and probably doing more energy and a more entertaining and better job than they did. Well, that was fun to watch. I might get a copy of that. Hi, Joy. Well, you hang in there. Let me see if Robin remembered. Oh, my goodness, yeah. Oh, sorry to hear that. Yeah, my chats only go back so far. I'm just cruising through the chats. Oh, yeah, I put some memes on Truth and Then Social and also on my community page. Your pronouns are showing. So anyway, what did you all get? What was your favorite part of that rally? What did you like? I thought the whole thing went much faster than the past ones. A lot of energy. And, the attacks they tried to do on Trump fell flat. At least two new ones. Remember a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned how Trump had been talking about Hannibal Lecter. And the context he was talking about Hannibal Lecter is with these unknowns coming across the border. That's what he was saying. He said they're criminals, they're vicious, they're psychiatric patients, lunatics. Like he said, did you ever see Hannibal Lecter? Oh, such a wonderful man. He's saying it facetiously. They tried to say, oh, he thinks Hannibal Lecter's a wonderful man. Totally asinine comment. And I talked in the past how he was referring to the viciousness of these cartels. And I said that they put their videos of these heinous acts they commit up and don't look for them and don't even try to read descriptions of them, because it's something that will change your psyche. It'll disturb you. But rest assured that Mr. T and the U.S. military know that these people are committing crimes against humanity, crimes against God Almighty, in their treatment of other human beings. That's what he's getting at. And when he said he's going to take them out the same way he took out ISIS, how did he take out ISIS? 2 months. He blew the bejabbers out of them. So that, it's not going to be, it's going to be do not pass go. I mean, they're going to be wiped out. Some of them have been identified that have committed atrocities so heinous. They've already been tried. They've already been tried in absentia. And it's just a matter of time. So, and the other thing they talked about, and somebody put in the chats about the word Reich, and I hadn't heard that one, so I didn't understand it. I was talking about the word pause, which we're in. We're in the pause, a solid week of this fiasco. And I had that video of Trump's ad. I didn't play it because I was thinking, well, it'll get to the point where Utizzle says anybody playing a video, even if it's an hour and a half long, plays a Trump ad, they'll take it down when it gets close to the election because you're not allowed to help with the election. So I didn't play it. But I watched it twice, and I never saw the word Reich. It's ridiculous. It's tiny little print in an old copy of an old newspaper. That you would have to, that shows you how they are just looking at any damn thing they can find, dream up, and people are going to go look at it for themselves and realize these people are full of it. Snake story, he did a little he misspoke a word or did something because they're on this business that Trump is losing it. And they may play a clip, where Trump gets the part in about the snake story, but they're trying to get them to listen to Trump misspeaking a word because Trump is losing his mind. And those people might go, snake story, let me listen to snake story. And people that never listened to snake story before will listen to it. I mean, we're dealing with a, fourth level, I was going to say fourth or fifth level of psyops, but it's like Flynn said, fifth generation warfare. Okay, so you get a good night's sleep. Yeah, I wish they had some aerial photographs, Kim. I would really like. Oh, thank you, Robin. Yeah, she remembers. Yeah. Our parents had the same sayings. We talked about a lot to be said for old sayings, right? All right, Bill went fishing. All right. I tell you, it's hard to say which part I didn't like best. I did like that guy in the cowboy hat. I mean, the Bronx is AOC's district, right? It's AOC's district. He rubbed her face right in it. And what is she going to say? What is she going to do? Oh, okay, Sissy. All right, Bill. So anyway, it was all big fun to me. I liked it. I liked the whole thing. And I was listening for keywords and everything, but it was moving at a fast pace. It was a fun rally. I don't think he was going out of his way to, talk about something mysterious, not with people that have probably never heard his, as I've said before, stump speech. This is what it is. And Reagan did it. Every politician did it over and over and over all across the country with a stump speech. So we go, oh gosh, he says the same thing. Well, I don't, but a lot of people say that. Well, that's what politicians do, a stump speech, you know? So here he's dealing with tens of thousands of people and all the networks. What is going on here? All of them showing up and showing his Bronx rally. And all these viewers that have never watched a Trump rally thinking, is something terrible going to happen? Is Trump going to screw up? Are they going to is he going to say something, make Judge McCon mad? What in the world? So you got literally millions of people who have never heard the snake story, never heard all the things he's talking about, reminded us of how he was able to take these government projects. Think about the ones he's talked about on top of the skating rink, on top of the golf course, on top of the post office, how he did the embassy in Jerusalem, save billions of dollars, how he did the Air Force One that Barack Obama had already screwed up as far as money goes. He turned it around. I hope you all hit the like button. I should have said at the beginning of the video, and I keep forgetting. Ha ha ha. Yeah, it is late. It's after 11 o'clock. So anyway, I'm not worried about that character that popped up. But I just thought, you know, these people have got rehearsed in their mind petty things about Trump that are being stripped down to be shown for the pettiness that they are, but they have it remembered in their mind, and things get discredited over and over again, and their talking points shrink. And when I throw a fastball at them, my talking points don't shrink. Big Mike in the yearbook, okay? Obama's ring. Allah is the one true God, right? Still wears it to this day. Who's Bill Ayers? On and on and on down the line. I was going to put in there what happened to Ron Brown, but I didn't want to overload him. Maybe he'll think about it, maybe he won't. I want to thank Miss Mindersue for helping out earlier in the week, and Gary and Christopher, Lone Wolf, Mike and Bev. Robin helped out. Hilarious, too. Thank you so much for going buy me a coffee and helping me out. I do appreciate it. And I hope if you're not subscribed, you'll think about subscribing so you know when I go live. And if you haven't hit the like button, give it a podge on the way out. Podge. That's a legitimate word. Podge the like button. Ha ha ha. So I'm going to see if anybody's got any news or comments or questions. Any comments? He said, well, he said, I know who the good are. I know who the bad are. I know who, and then he used the word Kill and then ERS, right? Who they are. And that makes me think, Comey, okay. Others. Oh, AOC's Brooklyn. That's right, Diane. Close enough. Brooklyn and the Bronx. I bought that bridge. You can go across it and go visit anytime you want. No, I didn't buy that bridge. I'm just kidding. Let's see. Yeah. Well, it's as many times as Trump said it, it's our city. He's talking about the whole of New York. And we all love New York. And people, you know, he said, it's going to take somebody from New York to straighten this out, to straighten New York out. And I'm from New York. And people know when they go out there looking at the filth on the streets, and you know what I mean by filth, and the danger and everything like that. And New Yorkers wouldn't want anybody else to straighten it out but a New Yorker. I think Trump will win New York. Reagan did it twice. All right, folks. I'm just checking the chats here. Yeah, I put up that guy's picture. The actor that looks kind of like Biden. He might have been Pappy Two Bears. Oh, they're listening, Pappy. Some things are eternal. Some truths are eternal, and nothing new under the sun. All right, folks. Well, anyway, I appreciate you all spending your precious time with me. I hope you had a good time here this evening. Trump will do it 3 times. That's right. He's already won twice. This will be the 3rd time. And a lot of people are saying that. Tim Allen could be playing Biden. I don't know that he's skinny enough, sissy. I don't think he's tall and skinny enough. Thank you, Ravens. I appreciate you also. I hope you all have a great night. And I'll be broadcasted probably tomorrow. My voice is holding up. It does get a little tough towards the end, but as long as I don't have any troubles, and if I don't, I'll put something on my community page. So if you all could check that once in a while, I appreciate it. All right, folks. I hope you have a great night. I'll be seeing you soon. This is Mountain Man, over and out.